I tend to stay away from synthetic blondes, but on my head right now is obviously a synthetic brunette. For all of you blondies out there, these are their California colors. So it's funny because each color kind of has their own pros and cons. So you kind of get to decide what might work best for you, especially if you're someone who loves exploring different colors. Hi everybody, welcome back to the Chiquel YouTube channel. My name is Amanda and today I'm going to talk to you guys about the differences between Zara by Jon Renau and its sort of upgraded version called Zara Lite. But before I jump into all of that, I'm going to remind you to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel where you can learn even more about alternative hair. So I show a lot of heat-friendly synthetic fiber styles out there. I find that for me, I personally gravitate more towards heat-friendly synthetic styles over plain synthetic styles. However, I always have a lot of women asking me, well, what is a great equivalent to, your favorite long heat-friendly styles, but in a plain synthetic style? And that is where Zara and Zara Lite come in. I am a huge fan of the long layered styles with a little bit of volume. Those are ones that I feel my best in. And Zara and Zara Lite are great examples of a synthetic style that I adore and would love to wear out and about, even though it's not my typical heat-friendly synthetic style. Now, I will say that I often lean towards heat-friendly synthetic styles, mostly because of the appearance of the fiber. Heat-friendly synthetic styles look more matte, a little bit more dull and less shiny. They're just a little bit more human hair-like when you look at them, whereas sometimes plain synthetic fiber like Zara can be a little bit shiny and glaring and look like the sun is glaring off of it too much. Sometimes that bothers me a little bit, especially in the blonde tones. I find in my own personal experience and my own personal opinion that most synthetic blondes are shinier than synthetic brunettes. So sometimes I tend to stay away from synthetic blondes, but on my head right now is obviously a synthetic brunette and I am wearing Zara. So this one is the original Zara. I am not wearing Zara Lite right now. I will get that on soon and we'll talk about that very soon. But if you want to know more about the differences between heat-friendly synthetic and regular synthetic fibers, go check out my video that I've done about it where I talk about pretty much all the differences between them, the pros and cons, and it can hopefully educate you guys a little bit on the type of fibers there are out there and what might work best for you. But right now, this is Zara and I'm wearing this in the color 6. The color 6 is just your typical medium leaning dark brunette. Honestly, there's not too much going on. It's a pretty neutral brunette. I'm gonna come in the sunlight a little bit here, hold on, and give you a little bit of that sunshine on this color so you can see different tones poking through. But overall, 6 is just your typical medium leaning darker brunette color. And this is honestly very similar to my natural hair color when I used to have hair. So I love this color. Anyways, let me give you a quick rundown of Zara before I start telling you the differences between this one and Zara Lite, which is its upgraded version. So as I mentioned, Zara here is made with plain synthetic fiber, not heat friendly. And this is close to a low to medium density. I'm not gonna say it's low, but I'm also not gonna say it's medium because there's, a decent amount of hair, but not too much. You can see when I put it in this ponytail here, how much hair there actually is. This does, however, have a little bit of Permatease in it. I've also done several videos on what Permatease is, but just as a quick note, Permatease is like a short-haired crimping effect done at the root of some synthetic wigs to give it lift, volume, and structure, and sometimes to hide any wefting that you might see through to your scalp there, which you don't want to see. So the Permatease kind of creates a little buffer between your scalp and the outside world. But like I said, go watch my videos on Permatease so you can learn even more about it, because Permatease is always a thing that's up for debate between people. They either love it or they hate it. But this one does have Permatease, which is going to give it some volume, and there is Permatease throughout the majority of the wig up here, even a little bit at the back and the bottom near your nape. So it does cover a good portion of the wig. Now it's not a ton of Permatease, but it's there and you can still use it to create volume and shape in this style if you want it. See how I made it a little bit more voluminous? You can also tone it down a little bit, like you can pat it down. However, just a note, sometimes with Permatease and wigs, you might tone it down in the beginning of the day, but then as your day continues, sometimes it just like grows and grows and grows, and then suddenly you have all of this like volume that you didn't necessarily mean to have. So it is good practice to carry a wide tooth comb with you so that you can comb it and tame it down throughout the day, even a spray bottle of water to help tone it down if you want. Not only does it help tone down the volume, but it also helps to combat the tangles that you will get in long synthetic styles throughout your day. Now, Zara here is going to have a lace front. So if I pull this off of my face here, you get the illusion of hair growth from your hairline. But just a note, as I mentioned in many of my videos, the darker the fiber, the more visible the knot. So yes, you are gonna see these knots here if you look closely, unfortunately, but that is the nature of a dark synthetic fiber and knots on the lace, unfortunately. And then all that being said though, you guys, honestly, people are not out there trying to look at your hairline, trying to decide if it's a wig or not. Not as many people look at your hairline as you think they do. Plus, if you want to make it a little bit less noticeable at your hairline, if you are planning on getting a darker color, you can always use something like concealer or makeup powder to dab at the front of your hairline to help sort of soften the knots so that they aren't quite as in your face. Now, Zara also has a full monofilament top. That means that you have the ability to part your wig anywhere you want on top, all while giving you that illusion of scalp at your part line. However, again, with these dark fibers, you are gonna see the knotting, but I also have a video on YouTube about how to sort of diminish the look of the knots and make your part line a little bit more natural by using scar tape and by using makeup again. So there are ways to help you out to help make things look a little bit better. But then of course, if you are deciding to get a lighter color or a blonde that doesn't have any rooting in it, you're not gonna notice the knots near as much. Okay, let me do a quick spin for you. I haven't done that yet. You can see how long she is. Now, one last note about Zara is that she does fit very true to average. So if you are an average sized girl, this would be great for you. She is nice and stretchy in the cap. So if you're a little bit bigger than average as well, 22 and a half inches in circumference, this should probably fit you just fine as well. However, if you are a petite size like me, I measure 20.5 inches in circumference, 11 and a half inches front to nape, 11 and a half inches ear to ear. Zara is a little big on me. If I adjust the Velcro straps in the back, it will make her feel much better in the circumference, and I would definitely wear her like that. There would just be a little bit of extra bulk in the cap area. But before I move on to show you Zara Lite, let me just give you a quick tour of the inside of the cap here. So here's that full monofilament top I was telling you about. We have that temple to temple lace front here. And then your open wefted cap. This is great for ventilation and breathability. Open wefting is often a really nice choice for summer or those warmer months, or going on vacation or going swimming. Open wefted caps are good for that. And then velvet ear tabs, velvet extended nape, and Velcro adjusters to adjust your circumference. So this is the original Zara, the OG Zara by Jon Renau. But once they realized that Zara was a very popular style, and when they were, busy creating and making updates, they took several of their really popular synthetic styles and they upgraded the cap to them, making a light version. So they then decided Zara was a contender for that because it was so popular, and they created Zara Lite. So what we're gonna see here is basically the identical style as Zara, but there's some changes to the cap, changes to the density, which I will walk you through. So we still have that full monofilament top that allows you to part it anywhere you want, gives you the illusion of scalp. We still do have that lace front. However, on Zara Lite here, that lace front extends all the way around your ear tabs, giving you that illusion of scalp all the way at the front of your hairline, as opposed to just this section here on Zara. So this gives you all that lace front all the way around, which is really nice to have. We have silicone ear tabs here on Zara Lite. This, I find as a bald woman, this I love for security. It makes me feel like my wigs are just like kind of attached to my head a little bit better. Plus it allows you a little bit more flexibility in using adhesive here. It just makes it a little bit easier if you want to use a glue or a tape on the silicone to help keep it against your temples and help keep it on if it's something that's maybe slipping around on you. Also, an upgrade to this cap is that it is 100% hand tied. So all of these fibers are hand tied on this stretchy, comfy material, as opposed to on Zara, which is a open wefted cap. So I was mentioning how Zara has open wefting, it's breathable and ventilated, nice and stretchy as well. But this here is the hand-tied cap. Here's the difference. You are going to find the hand-tied cap to be a little bit lighter weight and a little bit more comfortable. Whereas this one, the open wefted Zara, might be more breathable and ventilated. Another change on Zara Lite is, even though it still has the velvet, with your Velcro adjusters, they have added a silicone nape. Now, the great thing about the silicone nape is that if you are not a fan of that, you can remove the sewing around the seam here. You can remove that with a seam ripper if you wanted to, or little baby scissors, and take that off if you're just like not about the silicone. You can definitely do that. So those are the main cap differences from Zara to Zara Lite here. I have Zara Lite in the color 4. So 4 is basically one step darker than your 6. Here they are together. Honestly, they're very similar. You're gonna find the 6 has a little bit more warmth to it, just a little bit, whereas the 4 is a little bit more neutral. Very similar though, to be honest. You can tell 4 is just a little bit darker. Let me get some sunlight a little bit into these so you can see. So there we go. So 6 and 4. All right, let me get on Zara Lite for you. And you lucky duckies, I even have Zara Lite here in a couple rooted blonde colors, which I will show you at the end. Okay, now I don't know if you can tell, but once I put Zara Lite on, she's definitely more sleek, laying lower profile, because we have no Permatease in Zara Lite. And also because she is the light version, she has a lower density than Zara. So she's got a little bit less hair tied onto the cap than Zara does. So Zara Lite has all these cap changes plus a lighter density and no Permatease. So we're not gonna have as much volume on Zara Lite. If you are someone that wants a little bit more of an understated look where you don't have to worry about poofiness, Zara Lite is a really nice option. Let me give you a little spinaroo. So same idea though, with that full monofilament top, you can part it anywhere you want, get that illusion of scalp. And with the lace front, you can pull off of your face. However, I will note, sorry, itchy nose. I will note on the Lite caps, including Zara Lite, the lace fronts are quite a bit longer. So I don't know if you can see this on me. You can see where the lace comes up to. It comes up to about here. So the lace on these Lite caps are a bit longer. I personally enjoy cutting it back a little bit. I also have a video on how to cut your lace front. So go ahead, check that out as well. Sorry, I'm referring you to all these videos. I just know that if I were to talk about all these points in this video would be 10 hours long. So I'm just referring you to all these videos if you need like a sidebar. Anyways, you can cut this lace front if you want, but like I mentioned, it goes all the way around to where your ear tabs are. The one thing I will note is that if you are an ear tucker and you like to tuck it back and off your face like that, this lace here lifts. It's not gonna lay flat. So when I was mentioning using glue or adhesive, sometimes it is necessary, especially right at your ear tabs here. So if you want to put some glue or tape on the silicone there, even a little bit on this lace, you probably will have to be honest. That might be beneficial for you if you are an ear tucker, or if you are someone who likes to pull their hair back and away from their face. You might need to do that so that it doesn't lift too much. So cutting the lace, glue or adhesive of some sort on your ear tabs if you need. But I am personally someone who doesn't really pull my hair all the way back, so it's not something I typically do. Now in terms of sizing, you're gonna find Zara Lite to fit a little bit smaller than the original Zara wefted cap. So these hand-tied caps, they feel a lot better and more secure on my petite head. I still would say it fits pretty true to average, but with the silicone on the ear tabs, the silicone on the nape, and the comfort of the cap, it feels a little bit more secure on my petite head. So it does fit average, leaning a bit smaller, yet it's still nice and stretchy and able to accommodate an average to average large size. Zara is a style that you can definitely pull back into a ponytail. Obviously it's long enough to do so. I always like to leave layering out in the front. The layering is a little bit long, but not too long and droopy, which is nice. So you can definitely do a ponytail with this style. And it's a nice natural pony. You could turn it into a bun even. Look nice and sophisticated with a cute little bun back there. I like that. And you could even put this up into a type of a claw clip as well. So tons of styling options for Zara. I also enjoy putting her in a half up, half down. And I always leave some fiber up in the, or out in the front while I do a half up, half down. So Zara is very versatile, or Zara Lite especially is more versatile than Zara in terms of styling, but both are capable of these styles. Okay, here's a cute little half up, half down as well. All right, now for all of you blondies out there, I did promise I was going to show Zara Lite in two rooted blonde colors. So these are their California colors. This one is Palm Springs Blonde, which is going to be their lightest, brightest, most ash rooted blonde color. It's a very subtle root. I will say it's a nice light brown root, so it's not going to be too stark and dark. And this is Malibu Blonde. I'll get them both out of the sunlight so it's a more accurate comparison. Malibu Blonde is going to be more of a medium golden blonde with some cool highlighting throughout it, and also a nice light brown root that is very subtle, so you're not going to feel like it's too much rooting, which is a complaint sometimes from people, saying that the root is just too darn dark. But these roots here, they're not too darn dark. Okay, let me start by putting on, I'll put Malibu Blonde on first. So again, this one is going to be more of a medium golden blonde with some brighter platinum highlighting throughout. Give you a spin. Just got a little bit of box hair, to be honest. You can kind of see a little bit of kinks happening with a synthetic style like this. I suggest using a fabric steamer to help straighten out anything, to help redirect fibers. Synthetic styles, plain synthetic styles, they don't do well with high heat from like a hot tool. You will singe and melt your fiber, but they do well with really low heat or with wet heat, like a fabric steamer. And I also have videos on how to use a fabric steamer with your plain synthetic styles. So you gotta find that one too, goodness gracious. But here's Malibu Blonde. And then here you can see the difference in brightness. So if you are like, Malibu Blonde is a little bit too dark for me, a little bit too golden, try Palm Springs Blonde here. FS17/101S18 is the color code for Palm Springs Blonde. So here we go. There's the roots on this. So because the root is, you know, darker than the blonde, you still see it, but it's not as visible as the color 4 and the color 6 that I was wearing. All right, let me do a spin for you so you can see Palm Springs Blonde. And I know earlier I was mentioning how I tend to stay away from blondes that are synthetic because of the shine. And I don't know if you noticed the difference between this blonde, the Palm Springs blonde, and then the color, what color was this? This was the color 4. This was 4. Can you tell the difference in the shine here? Like, I definitely can. So when you have a blonde synthetic style, just note it probably is gonna be a little shiny. You can use dry shampoo, spray it all over the wig, all over the fiber. That's gonna help tone it down a little bit, if you want just a little bit of reprieve from the sparkle and shine that synthetics do give. So it's funny because each color kind of has their own pros and cons. With blondes, the con is that they're shiny. The pro is that the hairline isn't as obvious. With brunettes, the cons are that the hairline is more obvious, and the pro is that the color isn't as shiny. So you kind of get to decide what might work best for you, especially if you're someone who loves exploring different colors. Overall, you guys, Zara Lite especially is one I recommend. I do love Zara, the original Zara. If you are someone who does want a little bit more volume and height to your hair, Zara is gonna be better for you than Zara Lite. You are someone who needs a little bit more of a sleek look and you want the extra comfort, and you're okay with paying the extra cost because Zara Lite is quite a bit more expensive, to be honest. If you're okay with all of that, then Zara Lite might be your gal. But I have personally owned Zara Lite before and I have loved her so much. She's always lasted me a long time. The synthetic fibers are quite durable, last a long time, and also easy to maintain with low heat or a fabric steamer if they are ready for a little bit of maintenance from seeing a bit of frizz on them. But if you have also had experience with Zara or Zara Lite, let us know in the comments what your thoughts are on it. And if you haven't, then let me know if this is a style that you're interested in. I always love hearing from you guys and your thoughts on the different pieces I'm showing. But if you have nothing to say, then that's okay too. You can always even just say hello, and I'm always happy to say hey. Okay, anyways, I'm gonna end this video. Go have yourselves a great day. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye, everybody.